Today's show is about relationships over 55. But today you are going to hear about relationships in a way you have maybe never heard before. Our guests are Simon and Brendon Watt. You might assume they are a married couple. Maybe not exactly. Actually, I'm not sure. We will find out and hear about what makes their situation unusual, relationships done differently. I realize I'm providing a very vague introduction because, frankly, you're going to find out along with me in a moment. Simone and Brendon Watt, also with a book, Relationships, Are You Sure You Want One?, which has gone on to be a top bestseller. Now, if you want to be part of this amazing journey with Bloomer Boomer, with the community here, register on the website for the newsletter and get member benefits. We are live. We stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and on bloomerboomer.com. And in the meantime, we will hear from Simone and Brendon Watt about relationships done differently. But first, remember to join the Bloomer Boomer community. Well, Simone and Brendon Watt, wonderful having you here today, I must say. And welcome. Welcome to Bloomer Boomer.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you for having us.
Okay, so in all due respect, please tell our community about, what you guys have done, because I know I would never really do it justice.
Well, Brendon Watt and I were in a relationship for about 8 years, and throughout our relationship, a lot of people would ask us how we were creating the relationship, because we got on so well. We were absolutely, great friends, and we never had a fight in 8 years, which is one of the things that most people are like, what? And they saw the way that we honored each other and the way that we were always willing for the other one to do whatever was required, like just the way we were with each other. And so people started asking us to talk about this. So we started doing some seminars, and then we put it into a book. And the book that we have, that we released, is called Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? Now, here's the catch. As we were releasing the book, Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? We were in America, and we had all these TV shows, etc., that we were doing, and we broke up the relationship. And our PR agent nearly had a minor heart attack, or a big heart attack. We were like, don't worry, it's okay, we've got this. Because the thing is, the way Brendon and I look at this is, if you want to create a great relationship, if you want to create a relationship, make it great. And there's a lot of tools in our book that will create that. And then, and this is the piece that I think so many people are not willing to have a look at, is when is it time to say, thank you so much? Have we done what we were meant to do together? And is it time to move on? I mean, I hear a lot of people referencing, oh, they've been in a relationship for 42 years. It's a great one. I'm sorry, just because you've been in a relationship for 42 years doesn't mean it's great. My parents' relationship was definitely not great, but my dad was a devout Catholic, so he stayed with my mother. So it's like what we did was, and Brendon was the smart one. He was the one who actually broke the relationship up.
I like that. The smart one.
Yeah, and I said it here live. It's recorded, Brendon. So
okay, good.
You were right. Okay. And he was the one who broke the relationship up. And I did the girl thing of going, oh my God, like my life is over. And then when I actually looked at it without the trauma and drama, I went, you know what? He's correct. It's like, it was time for us to say, to say goodbye, but it's not really goodbye, because we still work together. We talk to each other pretty much every day, if not every second day. And we are in each other's lives in a very big way. We built a lot of wealth together, investments, etc. And when we were breaking the relationship up, we met with our accountant, and we did that thing of going, let's sell everything and split it, and then we looked at each other and went, hang on, why are we choosing that? Like, we created so much together. Just because we're not lovers, just because we're not living in the same house and in that sort of relationship, what if we could have a financial growth relationship as well as a working relationship and a friendship as well? So
Well,
just because you break one thing up doesn't mean that everything has to go.
I think that's also the thing that made Relationship Done Different and the book Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One so like such an invitation for people, because they were looking at it going, okay, you had the relationship, we get the book based on that, but then you maintained a friendship after it. People were going, okay, so what is this? What's different about this? But that's the thing, is we've told everybody about a lot of tools that we've used to always be in question and look beyond for something. There's got to be something greater, because I had relationships where they were terrible and we just kind of stay in them. And most people would rather be in a bad relationship than have one at all, than not have one at all. So we stay in them rather than going to question and going, okay, what do I actually desire? What do I want my life to be like? So that's where we would just, not only in relationship were we different, but getting out of it, we were probably even more different.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you guys have opened up a can of worms, you know that, don't
Uh-huh.
Yes, we have.
We like doing that.
Because people my age, after we're proud of those of us, not me, but those of us who have been married for a long time, they're proud of it. I've done 40 years. I've done 37 years. I've done 45 years, and I mean, that's a sense of pride, and I really respect that. But, you're bringing a different light to it all.
Yeah.
Well, and
Is it
also,
good?
yeah.
Because if it's
But
not
also,
good, you can change it as well. Like, I remember at one stage having a chat with my father and saying, why are you still with mum? Because she was so mean to him. And he said, Simone, this is my life. I chose it. I'll be here. And he was like, please go live your life. And he was such an empowering, beautiful man. And like I said before, he was a devout Catholic. So to him, getting a divorce was not really a possibility. But I've seen so many people at a later age that may have had a 30, 40 year. There was someone I know recently, is a good friend of mine. She was married for, I think it's like 38 years, a couple of kids, and he died about 18 months ago. And she's just met someone else. And most people wouldn't choose that. And she's like a little teenage girl. It's so wonderful to watch. And I think she's about 60, and it's just wonderful. So why would you not keep asking for something greater every single day, no matter what age you are, I would look.
I totally agree with you. The initial sense of love and falling in love, I mean, those times can never be replaced. They are the best. But it's a passing. I mean, it doesn't last forever. And so I agree. I don't know, I know what you're saying, but on the other hand, you got to find a way to make things last, going beyond the first stage.
The initial
honeymoon.
8 weeks attraction. Usually it's the 8 weeks.
Yeah.
The honeymoon.
I mean, that's what we're all searching for, how we can keep that going on and on and on. It's hard.
One of the things that we did was we always added to each other's lives. So every day we would go, okay, so let's destroy and uncreate what our relationship was yesterday. Let's move forward again. So we were always in this constant movement in creating the relationship. And that's what a lot of people don't do, is they go, okay, we're in relationship now, we're stuck together forever. Rather than, okay, we're in relationship, let's create it every day. Let's make it better every day. Let's keep going. 40 years, you should be proud of that. You should be grateful that you've had that much time together. But now what if the next 40 years could be even better?
Yeah.
That's the place where, rather than stopping, how do we keep going? How do we keep creating something greater every day? And also, it's not from this fairy tale land of relationships are just going to be easy and everything's going to be magical and fun. You're going to have moments where you're going to have to deal with things. But that's the place where, rather than, going to fight or going to, well, I'm right and you're wrong, which a lot of us do in a relationship, it's going to that place of question of, okay, what can we change here? What can we contribute to each other to go beyond this into something greater?
So in writing the book and the course that you offer, you must have both done a lot of thinking about your past together and what got you here today. Do you see? I mean, do you see what I mean? Do you often, so often, when people split apart, they try to close off one relationship and then find another. But you guys have, you've stayed together in a different way.
Yep.
In spite of that, so you've found reasons to stay together in a different format.
Well, we work together, so
yeah.
and then our friendship has actually, I would say, our friendship has increased because when my point of view is, as we haven't been lovers, then we've lent on each other as a friend, and that level of communion that both Brendon and myself have been for each other, and the allowance, and because we know each other so well too, it's that friendship has increased even more and keeps increasing. Like, we have each other's back. That's for sure.
Well,
that's
you
important.
said the thing that you said there with the allowance, I think that's been the key. Well, one of the key elements in us creating a friendship beyond it is having that allowance for each other, where we go, okay, this is you, this is what you're choosing, not going into fight about it, not having a point of view about it. But that's the thing that's allowed us to both grow into more of us, but also have that friendship still. Yeah. Most people don't have allowance when they break up. They go, "You're wrong. You're the worst person in the world. I hate you."
Well, then they also start judging what the other person is doing. Now look what he's choosing or she's choosing. And we haven't. We're both, like, we've had a laugh with each other about different choices that we've made over the last, I think it's almost 2 years that we've been split up. Mm-hmm. And we've laughed with each other and gone, well, choose it and see what shows up. So it's, we don't have this right. It's like, but we keep choosing and we do have each other's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel any sense of failure?
No, not at all.
That's good. Yeah. Now I found
if anything, the antithesis to that is what I would say. I am so proud of the relationship we did have, and I'm so proud that initially Brendon did choose to break the relationship up, but that we both moved on with that and created something greater. Because both of us, I mean, the work that we do with Access Consciousness is pretty much empowering you to know that and creating greater and asking for greater each day. Like, that's one of the tools I would use every single day. I ask, what would it take for today to be greater than yesterday? And that's what was actualized and created when we chose this.
Okay, now
so I'm proud of that.
That brings up another topic, access consciousness. I mean, we do a lot of interviews with Gary Douglas, and it's fascinating. I mean, I'm learning a lot. It's something that I've never been exposed to. But just briefly, how did that impact what happened, what decisions you made?
Well, can I say one thing? We wouldn't have had the relationship we had without that man. Okay. It's like we both, we're close friends with Gary Douglas, and it's like we would have him on speed dial. When we started the relationship, both of us were like avoiding being in a relationship, and I'd been in an abusive relationship before, so I was waiting for the abuse, and Simone was waiting for different things, and we were waiting for the relationship to end. So that wasn't much fun, and it wasn't very easy. So we had Gary on speed dial, and we'd call him and go, "Gary, help," and he'd give us a tool, and we'd use that tool in our relationship. We'd get greater, and so would the relationship. So we learned that if we wanted to create something greater, we had to do something different. So
like one of the tools, sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the tools he gave us was, one day when we had a house across the road from the beach, and I was cranky at Brendon. And ladies, please listen to this. Or men as well. I was cranky at Brendon. I don't even remember what it was for, but I was smart enough to take myself across to the beach just to have a moment with myself. And at that moment, Gary rang me. And he goes, "What's happening? What's up in your world?" And I was like, blah, 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 about Brendon. And he said, "Do you know what you need to do?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "You need to go home and you need to make everything about him." Now, that is the last thing in the world I wanted. I wanted everything to be about me, which that may sound familiar, especially to the ladies out there. And I knew that if every other tool I had used had worked. So I went, all right, what if I use this tool? So I walked in the house. And I walked straight over to Brendon, and I probably gave him a kiss and a hug, and was just like, made everything about him, asked him how he was, what was he up to, etc. And just put my energy onto him, not on me. And I'm not kidding, within 10 minutes, he was like, can I make you a drink? What would you like me to cook you for dinner tonight? And I was like, oh my goodness, this tool actually works. And that is how we created such a great relationship. And the book that we wrote, The Relationship Are You Sure You Want One, has all of these tools and many more. And we get so vulnerable with the things that we did choose that made this absolutely fantastic and great.
So would the book be advised for a couple looking at getting married, or what? Or
I would say it's advised for everyone, because the other thing we talk about in there is you can't have a great relationship with somebody else unless you're willing to have a great relationship with yourself. Because a lot of us, if we're not willing to have one with ourselves, we do this thing of relying on somebody else to give us the things that we won't choose in our own lives. So I would recommend it to everyone so that they actually get a bit more of a sense of what it's like to be kind and caring to you also, but also so that you can have that.
I think Brendon is cutting off a little bit there,
That's
but
okay.
let
me ask. Oh, he's back.
My internet is being bad.
That's all right. That's all right. Go ahead, Brendon. Go ahead. I was gonna ask Simone a question, but you go ahead.
No, well, I was just saying that I would recommend it to everyone. I think it's got a lot of great tools in there for creating a relationship with yourself also.
Yeah. Let's see. So, this is such a huge topic. I could probably spend a couple of days on it with you, but let me. Okay, so the book is doing really, really well. I guess people are getting the message. So that's great. Hey, Simone, I guess I have to ask you this one. I mean, at some point, you were, I guess, in a relationship for 8 years, and Simone, at 50, you were going to go out with a younger man. He was 14 years younger. I mean, do I have all that right?
No, Brendon is 11 years younger than me. So yeah.
Oh,
so
I was like,
okay.
who's this other man?
Now. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, who's this other man?
Who's this other man you speak of?
Okay. All right. And it looks like a must read for anybody who, even whether they're in a long-term relationship that's not blessed legally, it's just a long-term relationship that hasn't been official, but you have to look at that. And I think that what you're saying is you can make it better. You can make it better. You can improve your relationship as to what you have, and make it a more fulfilling relationship. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I just want to let our viewers know this is probably the biggest. We've reached out and made more. This is the riskiest interview we've ever done. Not topic wise, but just in terms of distance. I mean, okay. So you guys, okay, Brendon, you're in Mexico, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, and Simone, where are you?
I'm in Sunshine Coast, Australia.
Okay. I mean, I think this is pretty cool. I really do. I know, nowadays it's pretty basic, but in my little world, I think it's neat, and we've got this going on, and it's good. Now, listen, guys, we have a lot of questions from viewers and frequently asked questions. If we can take a real quick break, we'll just ask you a couple of those. So we'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, hi everyone. We are back with Simone and Brendon Watt, and their book is Relationship Are You Sure You Want One? And I think the questions, our community of 55 plus, are better than mine, so let me just ask a couple if that's okay with you. How to create a relationship after the kids leave. What have you been totally honest with? You have to be totally honest with them, I guess, in looking for a good relationship. You have to be honest with your kids, I guess, is what the question is about. that, you know, kids come into the picture at some point is the, I think, the point of all this. And how do we address that?
All right. So do you mean that the kids have grown up and left home and then they wouldn't?
Let's take, you know, let me read into it a little bit. Let's say the kids are, you know, still school age.
Okay. And you want to create another relationship.
Well, maybe the two have decided to go the route you have, or something like that. I mean, there might, you know, our kids are going to be understanding of that.
Okay, well, so the relationship is broken up, and then how do you talk to the kids, and how do you create your life beyond that?
Yeah.
Okay. Brendon?
Who's taking it? Me? Well, I would say with kids, it's a timing thing also. Like, it's not, you know, it's look at each kid is different and look at what they can hear, but also it's not about lying to your kids or you have to tell them everything, but also tell them what they can take in at the time. But one of the things I did with my son, I met Simone. I had a 5-year-old son at the time. Was he talked to me? He was in the bath one day. I was giving him a bath, and Simone and I were living together. And he started crying, and he said, "Dad, I want you and Mum to be back together." And I asked him a question at 5, which was, okay, so when I'm with your Mum, I'm just not happy. I don't feel like me. Is that what you'd like to live with? And he looked at it and he went, "No, I want my dad to be happy." But without that information, he didn't know why I was choosing it. So as soon as he got that information, he went, "Oh, now I get it. Dad's going to be a lot happier like this." And then he could start creating a different relationship with Simone. So it really is a topic by topic thing. But if your kids don't want your relationship to work, it's probably not going to.
And can I add to that too? Because Brendon did have a son, like he was 5, Nash, when we, you know, met and started a relationship. One of the things that I did with Nash, and I did it probably every 2 years or something like that, when I felt like it was getting a little weird, I would have a conversation with just him and me, and I'd say, "Hey, what would you like me to be in your life?"
Yeah, which was brilliant.
I wasn't trying to take over being your mom. And it's like, what, you know, and I remember one time, I think he was like 7, and he sat in his room. He was so cute, and he was crying, and he said, "You're more like a mum to me than my mum is, Simone." And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "So I'll be that for you if you desire." It's like, I can be your friend, I can be whatever. And even when we split the relationship up, 3 times I also spoke to him afterwards, and I said, "Look, I have a bedroom in this house for you. If you desire, I will set it up with all your gaming. I'll set it up with everything. Like, I am not leaving you. My relationship with you is something completely different than a relationship I have with your dad." So, but I said, "I'm going to leave that up to you. It's your choice." And I said, "If you want to, stay here, if you want to, have a room here, that's up to you." And he hasn't done that. And yet I didn't want to take that choice away from him. So I think it's really important that when there's kids involved too, it's not one in, all in. It's like you have a relationship with the person, and then you have a relationship with the kids as well. So deal with them on a separate basis.
Yeah. I promised about 30 minutes or so, and that's probably where we're getting to right now. Simone and Brendon, what will you be? Can you hang out for one less than 30 seconds, and just with some final words, and we'll be right back. Okay. So, you guys, how can people learn more about you and what you're up to and about the book?
They can go to relationshipsdonedifferent.com and also relationshipareyousure-you-want-one.com. And I'll give you one more website, accessconsciousness.com. So, but if you go to any of those, Google our names, etc. I'm the only Simone Milasas in the world. There might be more Brendon Watts.
There's more Brendon Watts. Apparently,
you'll find lots of information. And we do classes on relationship done different. We've also, like we said, we've got the book. We've got lots of videos out, like there's no sugarcoating vlogs, etc. So there's lots of information out there on those 3 websites I mentioned if you desire to choose something different in your relationship. And what I would like to say is you can be really happy and joyful, no matter if you're single or no matter if you're in a relationship. It's your choice. You get to wake up in the morning and choose that.
Yeah, that's what we want is choice, and that's great. Hey, you guys, thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. And we want to thank all of you. You can find out more about this on Facebook and YouTube and at bloomerboomer.com. And if you like this, please like us on Facebook and follow us. In the meantime, get to know bloomerboomer.com at the web platform. And it's a springboard to a meaningful life after 55. We'll see you next time.